Thank you for having me today. I'm the Director of Software Solutions at GraVoc. It's quite an honor to be here, and happy to go through a number of options that we prepared regarding a new pay bill solution for the Microsoft specific platform. Hey, Chris, how you doing today?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Doing well over here. Thanks all for joining today. Fortunately for all of you, David's going to be doing much more talking today than I am, but happy to be here. And part of my responsibilities at Greenshades, I oversee our revenue operations and revenue strategy, and been fortunate enough to be here for the last, 14 years now, and worked with a lot of clients over the years, and looking forward to today's discussion. So most of today's discussion is really going to be along the billing side of the house, and how the combination of Business Central along with Greenshades and GraVoc can assist. So just a quick introduction to Greenshades. So we are we're payroll, HR, and taxes is really the core of our operation. So assisting employers and organizations out there to manage their workforce from hire to retire. We're fortunate enough to have a lot of payroll experts on hand. So myself, certified payroll professional through the American Payroll Association, and really at our core is compliance and payroll. So we listed off a number of things here. We've been in the Microsoft space for over 20 years at this point, and along with offering payroll and HR services, we do fully integrate with Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. So for those of you who are using BC today, good for you to know. And then for any of you that are considering BC, just be aware that we certainly integrate with that, and there's a lot of data that we can flow back and forth along with kind of assisting with that migration process. So again, not going to spend too much time on all of this, just because in general there's so much to cover today, but just at a high level, just to give everybody kind of a general idea. So along with ultimately getting employees paid from hire to retire, in order to get those employees paid, there's a lot of things that need to happen correctly during the onboarding process, HR management, benefits enrollment, et cetera. But it's really important to organizations to ensure that this data can also tie back into their ERP. So today specifically, we're talking about Microsoft Dynamics BC, which is a cloud-based system. We'll discuss more about that in just a minute to give you a little bit more information about what that system can provide. But from the Greenshades perspective, we are fully integrated. So most importantly, we're talking about all the employee data flowing to and from, these employee records flowing from Business Central into Greenshades, all the general ledger information to ensure that the financials can stay up to date. And then really importantly, the jobs component within Business Central, which is a great way to capture project and billing related information that we'll discuss more here in just a moment. That information can be captured within Greenshades and fed into Business Central to ensure that along with getting those workers paid, we can capture additional information that's relevant to your business to be able to help understand kind of the overall cost reporting and really the true cost of the workforce within your operation. So I'm not going to go through all of these things in depth, but just to give you kind of a general idea, when I'm talking about hire to retire and overall workforce management, I always say, like, yes, getting employees paid timely and accurately is certainly the most important thing, because we all want to get paid, right? Nobody's working for free, or at least in most cases. But along with that, in order to get a worker paid, there's a lot of things that need to happen correctly during the onboarding process and the overall life cycle of that employee. And then along with that, there are certain compliance and regulatory requirements that are in place for organizations. And again, without staying compliant, the business is going to have a lot of difficulty staying open, and ultimately, the workers would be without a job. So it's really important for everybody to ensure that the data is compliant, and again, a solid workforce management solution. And then when you couple that with Microsoft Dynamics Business Central, ensuring that that data is flowing so that these systems can all act as one. And this is just kind of a quick example. So when we talk about Microsoft Business Central, and it's a little bit difficult to see here in this screenshot, but when we're actually going through and processing the payroll, along with understanding a worker's pay, their earnings, for example, all of the compensation associated with these workers can be associated with different jobs, so that ultimately that necessary information can flow back into Business Central. So again, we understand both within Greenshades, the true kind of cost of that employee, but then as well that data flowing into the financials so that you can have a true understanding of that. And then this is just an example here around payroll cost reporting. So again, this information that we're collecting from these workers, a variety of different ways to collect this information, but as we're getting these workers paid, beyond just saying, hey, this employee needs to get paid a certain rate, oftentimes there's additional kind of more granular information that we want to collect and associate with that worker's compensation, again, so we can understand that. So today, certainly talking on the billing side, maybe within the staffing world, of course, understanding clients is a big thing there. And then that, of course, all feeds right into, okay, great, we can capture this information now. What's going to happen with it? So, David, why don't you take it over from here, please? Thanks.
Excellent, Chris. Thank you. I am pretty excited to be here today. The Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central platform. I actually was getting prepared for this day, and it's so hard to describe what it is because it does so much. But at its core, I asked the Bing chat, and this is exactly what it gave me in response. I've been implementing ERP systems for a long time, enterprise resource planning, and typically at its roots, it's your general ledger, it's your accounts receivable, accounts payable, and your banking. It's generally the core piece of what every ERP system has. And that's really what Business Central does really well. It does it in the cloud, and it does it on the Microsoft platform. So quick, very simple introduction to what Business Central is and may look like. I'll drag this over. Does that come through to your screen? I certainly hope so. There's a couple of key points of information in Business Central. Is that yes, it's a web-based application. So whatever browser you use, wherever you'd like to go, you certainly can navigate there to have access to your information. The chart of accounts is is like just about every other accounting system. Typically, you have a chart of accounts that matches what your staffing world might look like in terms of sales and cost of goods sold and operations and so forth. We also here have customer cards where we build master records that perform transactions against them that ultimately drive the revenue, the reporting for accounts receivable, as well as cash applications, collections, payments, statements, and so forth. Managing payables and vendors is also one of the key strengths inside of Business Central that allows you to pay your vendors, whether they be through a live check or through some sort of electronic payment method is certainly not without a reach. But I want to highlight one key piece of Business Central that I think is why it's so attractive to staffing firms. The general ledger is only a piece. The dimensionality is what really makes this interesting. And for our demonstration today, we're going to be a staffing firm, and we're going to use Greenshades Online to pay our employees, to pay our companies, and to pay our employees, and process payroll and perform the compliance. And the cost of goods sold is going to automatically come in through its native sync to Business Central. However, what we offer is this dimensional reporting side for your revenue recognition and your billing elements. If you're in a QuickBooks world, you have one class to assign to all of your entries. But with Business Central, you have up to 8. So very interesting in terms of analytics and financial reporting if you're interested in that sort of thing. So GraVoc and Greenshades have paired up with our decades of industry experience and know-how and teams to provide a billing platform that will be able to consume the Greenshades pay data for your temporary staff and perform billing events on top of that. It's a Microsoft Business Central 365 extension that we have partnered on from an engineering and an API standpoint to enable customers that are looking at a SaaS or cloud-based ERP application to pair up with a couple of best-of-breed applications to do so. I'm going to move through a number of screenshots relatively quickly so that we can drive home the point of this. Starts with the setup. It's fairly straightforward. You need to obviously be paired up with Greenshades, and we have a special API user connection, security, and endpoints that are part of our systems communicating back and forth. The platform setup likes to use native functionality like the dimensions in Business Central in the general area of the card, as well as the a numbering series for new billing cards. Billing cards are the lifeblood of performing that pay to bill calculus. This is a screenshot of the billing cards list. Notice that I have one billing card highlighted for a fabric and textile buyer. That person is associated with a payee as well as a customer. So we now have a list of important information tied together to be able to take what we pay this person and bill it to the right customer out of Business Central. Customer synchronization is something that is part of the application so that you can communicate between your systems when new customers are onboarded. Sometimes that happens long before the payees or the placements are even assigned to those customers. Pay codes that are used to pay the employees are synchronized to Business Central so that we have a finite list of values against which to allow or disallow various types of billing events and rates to apply. Staffing firms often like to see some descriptive wording on their sales invoices. What better way to do that than to sync some key elements from the payees themselves? This makes the invoices look really great when they leave your system. Setting up a new billing card for a customer is just a couple of clicks away. I'm entering it here from the customer card, and I'm going to the customer billing cards window. And this automatically filters down to show you that I have two cards for this one customer. One of them I've assigned to a temp, the other one I have not. Business Central offers this template capability that we want you to use with the billing platform. It essentially performs like a rubber stamp that effectively takes a brand new record and fills it in with a lot of other commonly applied default records and values, which speeds up the time it takes to onboard either new vendors or items, and in our case, billing cards. On the customer card itself, or the customer billing card itself, are a number of what they call fast tabs in Business Central. I have them all collapsed here so you can see the variety of options that go along with configuring a single billing card. Let's walk through each one very quickly. Highlighting the top left here, the three pieces that allow us to know who to bill for, and the specific card that contains the parameters, the rates, and the billing instructions. This billing card is tied to somebody who ordered this work. In this case, their email and their contact name and phone number are displayed. And for this billing card, I think it's important that we get general ledger dimension values assigned. We can either pull these from Greenshades Payroll and bill against those, or we can have set predefined dimension values assigned for pay events that occur against, or billing events that occur against this, this billing card. The top three sections here I just showed you are all fully expanded. The next section down, I'm going to go a couple at a time. Oftentimes you will have the need to add over and above charges to your sales invoices that are not necessarily consistent across customers. So this billing add-in allows us to have either flat fee or percentage markup options for adding to the total of a billing invoice. Allowances is a function that allows for us to reduce the overall cost of an invoice. In this case, we have offered a legacy discount here for this billing card of 0.75% off the total invoice. Billing comments are a nice feature to have, and with Business Central's standard text codes out of the box, we're able to tap into that with the billing comments section of the card. It allows us to place text above and below the body of the invoice that shows all of the payees and their rates for that invoice. We can order and sequence them so that they appear in the appropriate order. Rates. There are a variety, in fact, probably endless ways of taking a temp staffing placement and turning it into a billable event. And the billing platform is designed to allow some great flexibility there as well. This example allows for this billing card to effectively bill against hourly and overtime and double time, associating a pay rate that's coming from Greenshades with a markup or a multiplier, yielding a billing rate. The billing rate is used whenever those pay codes are used in a given pay run in Greenshades. Oftentimes, having just a few extra fields helps us go that extra mile. There are two areas from our experience that staffing firms like to see extra places or extra field values. Number one is in the document header. Number two is in the document lines. We enable a setup that allows you to choose what the field labels are for those in either place. When the payroll has been performed and posted in Greenshades Online, what's left to do is to consume that check run, that pay run into Business Central and perform billing events. The process occurs right from within Business Central. When running the payroll transactions sync, the prompt asks what pay date would you like to see the data for, and upon clicking OK, brings it into a custom data structured environment that allows us to perform a number of validations on that, as well as track which items have been billed or credited and need to be rebilled. When the process of creating the invoices has been performed, this is essentially what the on-screen invoice body will look like. Notice, we're billing the customer, we're performing comments with line items, as well as a closing comment at the bottom. The financial dimensions are giving us the ability to assign values for financial analysis and revenue recognition, depending on how and where that billing card should be booked. When an invoice is sent and emailed to your customer, this is an approximation of what that looks like. Notice that the description here is actually slightly different than the screenshot, and that's because we made an adjustment. So you see the actual last name, first name, and the rate card that was used to drive the line total, giving the customer clarity when they receive the invoice on their end. Business Central, it's important to note, does have some pretty modern capabilities, offering your customers right through clicking through a link on the invoice they receive, the ability to pay those invoices, creating a feedback loop that then can come back into Business Central and make cash application payment and so forth. So what happens next, right? We paid our temps, we've billed our customers. We can run aging reports natively inside of Business Central. Those aging reports look good. They can export to Excel, and they can even be published inside of a Teams channel. When your customers pay their invoices, the process is to enter the cash receipts, perform cash applications, which obviously affects the analytics, any of the Power BI reporting that you have going on, and the updated accounts aging. If customers need some additional handholding, the native capability in BC to create and email statements, reminder letters, is highly effective. We have the capability natively to assess finance charges, as well as at the end of the month, perform your monthly bank reconciliation to make sure all of the bank activity has been recorded in the bank account, as well as posted to your general ledger, enabling you a speedy and accurate financial close. After all the transactions are said and done, financial reporting in Business Central will give you on-screen capability for seeing trial balances, as well as printing to Excel, financial statements, income statements, balance sheet reports. Financial analytics is its strength. Power BI is an adjunct. Actually, is becoming more and more important and more insightful because of its ease of use. Our experience in the staffing industry has the ability to give you a leg up if you are interested in looking at this solution, as we're quite familiar with a lot of the staffing firms' reporting needs.
All right, well, thank you everyone. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday.